chance, you know.
Well, I got to ask, and this is like sacrilegious after we've talked about all these amazing boxers, but Le'Veon Bell, what do you think of his boxing career?
I'm embarrassed. I didn't see his first fight.
It didn't look bad.
He didn't
I'm not
look too
going to
bad?
lie.
Yeah.
It didn't look bad. I was surprised.
And he won by knockout or
Yeah.
decision?
No,
Knockout?
he knocked him out good, too. Like, it was
wow.
a legit knockout. It was a good punch. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you know, hey, if Gastineau did it back in the day, Ryan Gastineau, you know, but, you know, a lot of guys haven't had the crossover success, but hey, you never know unless you try, right? You know?
How do you navigate that? Because that's such a part of our culture nowadays. These Jake Paul, Logan Paul fights, Le'Veon Bell, like we see so much of that now. Is there an interest for you in setting up a fight like that?
Well, we just fought on a card in New York a couple weeks ago, and John Gotti III was on the card. He was a MMA fighter.
I was going to say, when I used to work at Flow Combat that streamed MMA, and we had a couple of his fights on our cards too. He was good. He was a good MMA fighter, yeah.
Yeah, he showed up. I mean, he didn't have an entourage. You know, he made weight, very professional, nice guy, and brought a ton of people, you know, of people. And I guess on the pay-per-view too. So someone like him who is a real fighter, but, you know, a little bit of a novelty, I would certainly put that on a card of ours in the future. But I think, you know, in terms of the Jake Paul and stuff, I think it's good for the sport. I kind of did a 180 on him when he fought in Cleveland. He gave like all that money to those other
crazy,
people, which is, I mean, really
awesome.
an awesome thing to do. And if he brings awareness and he brings, you know, new interest to the sport, let him do it, you know.
That's my thing right there. And that might be because I'm more on the promoting side now, but like any influx of new fans is ultimately going to be a good thing.
Absolutely. Because
you're going to have guys who start to see Jake Paul, but then stick around and become the diehards like you. Like that's how it starts. You had Billy Conn, a story about him stopping a robbery is what really got you hooked. It wasn't his fighting. It was this novelty thing that he did. Yeah. So it's kind of the same situation.
It brings people in. Absolutely. Steve Cunningham, you know, 2-time cruiserweight world champ, lives here in Pittsburgh, you know, has some great fighters himself. He was in a camp with Jake Paul, and you know he said for the amount of time the guy's been at it, it's impressive. You know,
he looks good to me too. I mean, I'm not a boxing savant by any means, but you can tell when somebody knows what they're doing or at least trains. He certainly looks the part to me.
Yeah. So it will be interesting when they step him up. Though, you know, will he catch the person or will he be totally exposed?
Is he fighting Anderson Silva?
That's what
I thought so. Yeah, that's happening. Up. Nice.
And Silva did not look bad in his pro boxing.
No.
Who did he beat? He beat someone.
Yeah, and I totally should know it.
Cesar Chavez.
There you go. Yeah. Chavez Jr.
Chavez Jr. Wow, and that's an impressive win because Chavez Jr. had a ton of pro fights.
Had some accolades for sure.
Yeah.
Everybody said, you know, he's a shell of himself and whatnot, which I'm sure to a degree. But
that's right. But he was a world champion. I think at junior middleweight. I mean, he gave the former middleweight champ. He had him in real trouble in the Sergio Martinez. He had him in trouble in the late rounds, and you know he was always kind of known as an undisciplined fighter.
Right.
You know, which was a knock against him, but. Certainly he was a puncher, so that's an impressive win for Silva.
It's a good win.
Yeah.
So I think, for Jake Paul, that's a good fight.
Yeah, that is a good fight. I'll be tuning in.
I was just going to say, I can't help but get excited about it. Like Le'Veon Bell, same deal. He's fighting a former UFC fighter next, Uriah Hall.
I recognize that name.
Yeah, funny enough, everybody called Uriah Hall the next Anderson Silva when he was coming up.
Wow.
So very similar build, very explosive striking, big knockout power kind of guy. So Le'Veon's got that's a hard test, man.
Yeah.
Like even though he's not a boxer, he's been training his entire life.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that there's enough time to catch up to somebody like that.
No, you're right. Now, is that on the same card?
I don't know. Danny, do you know?
It is. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
I got to get that card.
Yeah. I want to tune into that one.
I hate that I'm excited for that, but I can't deny it. That's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think locally, like the fight you need to do is like Mark Madden versus a random